Hello, welcome to Duel Cinematheque, a show I named because it sounded snobby and pretentious, but I want to emphasize that this will be a show that is meant to be fun while at the same time very analytical. Well, analytical anyway. Today we'll be looking at two very different yet very similarly thematic films. Over the top in 1989's The Wizard. The Wizard is, of course, the box office Oscar award-winning film starring Adam Savage as Corey Woods and Jamie Hyneman as Jimmy Woods as two young men who trek across the country playing video games. And, of course, to fulfill Jimmy's desire to go to California. I'm sorry, I just learned that some of the information I said was not quite accurate. For one thing, Jimmy Woods is portrayed by famous thespian and accomplished actor Luke Edwards. Fred Savage is Corey Woods, and along the way they meet a young lady named Haley, who is portrayed by Jenny Lewis, who has actually gone on to do better things these days than either of her two similarly aged co-stars. If you look at the cover of the box, you'll see Fred Savage here in the bottom left-hand corner here. This is the last known high-definition picture of Fred Savage to be taken, circa 529 BCE, around the time the Israelites rebelled against King George V of Japan. Okay, so I didn't quite get that right either, but who cares about details? Over the Top is a 1987 film starring Sylvester Stallone as Abraham Lincoln, vampire hunter, and Robert Loggia as "Tell them how to bring those sons of bitches down." Okay, so I didn't quite get that right either, but who cares about details? David Mendenhall plays Michael Cutlet, a kid who is always taunted, especially whenever he goes near the deli section of any grocery store. So how is Over the Top anything like The Wizard? Well, for one thing, the movies hinge on the death of a loved one, which has some kind of dramatic impetus, for better or for worse. But the underlying theme is about family. Let's face it, it's also pretty amazing how in Over the Top, Michael keeps trying to run away from his father, and in The Wizard, Jimmy and Corey run away from their parents as well. But the most similar aspect the two movies share is trying to reach a destination where they participate in some huge tournament where the prize isn't just money, but their family's love. Frankly, I think Over the Top is by far the better movie. Over the Top is all about arm wrestling, and after a while the competitions get a little annoying and grating, but let's face it, it's more exciting and more critical to the plot than playing Nintendo games. Why do I say this? Well, early on in The Wizard, Haley is amazed that Jimmy managed to get through Ninja Gaiden twice without taking a hit, even though his life bar clearly indicates otherwise. And also, if you know anything about Ninja Gaiden, you know it's absolutely impossible to get through that game without taking a hit. It is absolutely impossible. Go watch every speed run where they don't cheat, and you'll see what I'm talking about. All of the tension is completely neutered from the film, simply because if Jimmy Woods can get through Ninja Gaiden twice without taking a hit, even though that's not possible, he can easily beat the film's antagonist, Lucas, portrayed by Jackie Vinson. I did a little research on Jackie Vinson, and frankly, I think it's better I don't talk about Mr. Vinson. So something happens to separate Michael from his father Lincoln in Over the Top, the death of his mother. Yeah, Michael's mother, not Lincoln's mother, sorry. Although it happens off-screen, lessening any kind of dramatic impact and being a rather cliched plot point at this time in film history, it serves as a driving wedge between Lincoln and his son. Long story short, Lincoln is arrested, he's released after agreeing to a restraining order, heads off to Over the Top Championships or whatever in Vegas, and Michael discovers letters that were hidden from him, so he runs off from his grandfather's arms back to his real father. Surprisingly, Lincoln Hawk wins, and he and his son have fully bonded by the end of the film. With The Wizard, long story short, too late. They evade some creepy guy, Jimmy gets caught, rescued, then they head to Universal Studios to play Video Armageddon. Now, I may be biased because I love Stallone, but then again, you could say I'm also biased because I love video games. It's just that the whole video game thing overwhelms any overlying drama the film has. Seriously, when you were little, did you even care about the sub plot going on with Jimmy and his dead sister? No. I'm betting you were watching The Wizard for the video games, and for the video games only. To be fair, not a lot happens in either film. There are the standard action beats, boys kidnapped in both films, boys rescued in both films have big guys who drive autocar diesels, and both films feature big, hulking, bald men with arms bigger than my uncle's Humvee. Given all this, I got to give the nod to Over the Top. It's definitely the better film of the two. The story is deeply entrenched in the highly exciting and competitive world of arm wrestling, but it doesn't allow that to overwhelm the character drama, which is actually not executed too badly. Over the Top also has the better soundtrack of the two films. But The Wizard is just a mess. The whole video game's plot makes the B story take a backseat except for a couple very brief moments in the film. And for all I know, could have been added as an afterthought. I can imagine a meeting where a producer said, "This movie sucks. It needs something tacked on so that in 20 years from now, chumps will try to make believe that it doesn't completely blow." But who knows? I guess The Wizard isn't all that bad. Wait a minute. Yes, it is! Even the writers couldn't get the internal logic about the video games right. What with the whole getting 50,000 points on Double Dragon in less than a minute thing, and the whole he hasn't even taken a hit when his life bar says otherwise thingy. I tend to believe that The Wizard was intended solely to be little more than a marketing tool for Nintendo to advertise for 1990's Super Mario Bros. 3. That's it for the first premiere pilot of Duel Cinematheque. This is Gunflyer, Nintendo Fun Club member. I'll see you next time.